People do business with people that they know and that they trust. That was one of the first lessons I learned in business. You can't just be transactional. You got to cultivate, develop, and build relationships that will last you over a sustained period to help you achieve your business goals. Welcome to our sponsor mini-series. This mini-series is designed to give you a deeper insight into 4 categories: workforce development, technology, risk management and insurance, and third-party administration. You're going to get an insight into the people and the products that's bringing the value to your business. Now, if you're like me, one thing I hate is to be sold something. It just doesn't feel right. Just give me the real answers. I'm going to ask the tough questions. Show me what you can do and what you can't do, and I'll make my own informed decision. And sometimes we'll find out if the solution doesn't work for you, but we're going to go deep. And if you find this interesting or you want to learn more, check out our sponsors in deeper detail. Go to their websites. But when you call them, make sure you use that L12 discount code because, they're giving you free money. You might as well use it. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the mini-series. I'm Jason Burns, your host on Last2First, and I'm excited for you to learn, uncover, and discover what can work best on your Last2First journey.
This is David Douglas, CEO of ADLINC, and you're watching the Last2First Podcast.
All right, we are back. Last2First family, it's Jason Burns, your host. This is our third part of the mini-series on workforce development and how we can give you some insights and tools and tips that you can help to save money and get that bottom line going up and to the right. So Dave Douglas is back with us with ADLINC. Dave, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me again, Jason.
So in this last part, I mentioned I want to talk more about how ADLINC solutions stack up against some of the competition in the space today, where there's a different value prop, and then how can owners take advantage of that. So first is training, certifications. In our space, we talked about the different clients we service, whether it be healthcare, you may need certain type of trainings, automotive. Your team may be hiring critical roles of customer service, playing those roles. How do you differentiate yourself from that standpoint? What does the organization do to ensure that I'm getting someone that's knowledgeable about my customers' needs and that I don't get hit with the issue of I'm not in compliance with the contract provision?
For sure. There's a lot of folks out there, a lot of companies out there that just kind of slap the logistics along with the support services that they offer. And as I'd mentioned before, ADLINC was born on the logistics, so we know what the requirements are. For instance, clients that we serve, they're doing critical meds, they may do in radio farm, they may be doing AOG that require hazmat, so on. We ensure that the ADLINC agents are actually trained and up on the certification and understand what those requirements are as well. So not just the baseline logistics foundational education, but also to ensure that they understand what they're asking the drivers to do in the industry, right? And we feel like that is a critical thing because we know how critical compliance is in logistics.
Yeah. And from a teaming aspect, so I know there's some companies in the industry that have 25 plus remote assistants or logistics coordinators. But the one thing I think that I think is different about what you do is it's the team is contained in one area where they're getting support from the organization, whereas in other models seem to be more decentralized, I would say, where I may have 25 people, but they're all over the place. They're not really connected there.
Right.
Have you found any benefit to that? Is that a strategic part of your solution?
Absolutely, it is strategic. One of the things that gets overlooked is happy employees, happy clients, right? And what drives happy employees, right? It's the culture, right? Having the culture, having that care, having that camaraderie is a huge thing. People are happy at places where they want to be, where they want to work, where they see a future, right? So having a top tier environment, having the support, having just the environment to foster their growth is a huge thing. And we're seeing it in our turnover, right? When you look at industry turnover, call center, business process outsourcing, et cetera, you're seeing 30, 40% skywards, right? We are less than 15% with our turnover, right? So that says something.
That's huge.
Right?
That's huge,
Yeah.
That retention, again, I keep going back to it, is the institutional knowledge in our world. When you put your crosstown hat back on, like the devil's in the details. And that's what makes our business a little tricky, is because it's hard to replicate that consistently. This is not FedEx and UPS where you're just going to the same cookie cutter route. It's the driver's got to go into a hospital. He's got to go to this lab on this floor and go to this shelf and unlock this and put this specimen in this tote.
Yeah.
Like those details, they will make or break you.
Right.
And so it all goes back to people. It all goes back to culture. It all goes back to the why behind what we do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to look at you can't just look at the last digits of those airway bill numbers, right? Because a couple in the middle might be different, right?
Right.
You have to make sure that you get the proper PODs. Yeah, you're exactly right. And that's how we focus. It's quality and speed comes once you get proficient at ensuring the quality, then the speed will come.
You need to right size your business or scale it, and you want to avoid all the hassles and growing pains? Meet ADLINC, your go-to partner for outsourced talent solutions, keeping your delivery operations running seamlessly and profitably. From customer service reps to dispatchers, including those difficult to staff nights and weekends, to back office admins, ADLINC trains each logistics coordinator in your processes and native systems to get the job done right every time. And with top-tier security and compliance, your data is always protected. Optimize, scale, succeed. Go to adlink.com and use the L2F discount code and get $200 off your first month's invoice. Now back to Last2First. Yeah, 100%. All right, so Dave, another thing that I think comes up a lot when you're working and considering these type of solutions, one of the challenges I've heard in this space when you start to work with another company, we go into it wanting to save costs and maintain quality service. But as the cost continues to increase over time, you start losing that savings. And if you don't feel like you're getting all these extra benefits of a supervisor, training, culture, et cetera, it's like, why are my costs going up if the money may not be going to the actual person doing the work?
Right.
So, and that's created some of a negative reaction, I think. Does ADLINC look at that any different? That creates a reaction where people want to consider maybe buying out the person or doing their own thing a different way. What's different about ADLINC's solution there?
Yeah, so the way that we approach things is really a partnership with our clients, right? So we find the right person, and there's a underscore, the right person, right? So that person is a part of your team from day one, right? And we make sure that the relationship there that exists, it's and related to the cost of that person. Is how do you feel about, do you want to give that person an increase when the time comes? We're not arbitrarily just raising rates on you. We do, and we like to have an agreement in place to really solidify that, right? So you know that your cost is going to be what we agreed on for X period of time. Yeah. And we have a long-term viewpoint, not a short-sighted view. We want to be around, we understand how hard it is for logistics company, and what we want to do is give some of that margin back, what I mentioned in the beginning. And that's truly where our heart is. It's not to get in and have a more of a short-sighted view to jack up the cost, because with our clients having that relationship with their agent, they are going to know what's happening, right? So, and we want to foster that happy employee, happy customer scenario. So it wouldn't be a good kind of outlook for us to kind of approach things like that. We're more on the partnership side, stability, knowing what you're budgeting. And if you want to do something for your employee like you would do if they were sitting in your office, that's kind of the approach that we take.
Yeah, that's good, because the person that's doing the work should be rewarded for it.
Absolutely.
Obviously, the company, what you guys are doing with the infrastructure you provide, the oversight, there's a fee and a cost for that.
Absolutely.
But I think as long as you can keep those things, in terms of where it's not losing sight of the value proposition, both sides, it's a true win-win solution.
That's what we strive to create. We're looking for long-term clients. On the courier side, back in those days, I recall there was clients that was doing business with the courier company for 20, 30 years, right? And those kind of relationship does not come with a short-sighted view. Yeah. That's where ADLINC is positioning itself to have those long-term relationships. Got it.
All right, so Dave, we're wrapping up the end of the third part, and a couple final questions here. Compliance is a big part of what we have to abide by, a lot of our contracts with our clients. Privacy, we talk about HIPAA certification. What are you doing there to ensure that my customers' data is protected in a safe and secure environment?
Yeah, absolutely. So we employ state-of-the-art endpoint features. We abide by DPA, Data Protection Act of Jamaica, GDPR. And so we consistently look at those things because we know how sensitive data is today and all of the different breaches and things there that we hear of. And so we give that critical attention.
Got it.
In addition to that, we have agreements with our clients. We have NDAs. We want to ensure, again, that this is a long-term. And if we have some kind of a negative leakage on our side, it's going to affect all of us. So we ensure that we give that particular attention.
Yeah. That looks like you guys have taken a lot of the steps. Like, I think people sometimes think this is easy to do. Like, I could just go find me somebody in the Philippines or whatever and pay them X dollars and manage it. I love that because you guys have taken all the steps to build a long-term solution, sustainable solution. You didn't take any shortcuts in the infrastructure and the talent and everything you're doing. I like to always end these discussions with the future and where we're going from a final mile perspective. ADLINC is supporting that industry right now. I'm sure there'll be other things you'll do down the road, but
right.
Where do you see the future happening? How does ADLINC support that growth?
Yeah, absolutely. So when you look at logistics, final mile, it's not just moving packages anymore, right? It's really now about speed, automation, and customer service, right?
Yeah.
So whomever is able to adapt and master those are really the ones that are going to come out on top. The name ADLINC is supposed to represent the missing link to help you get there. So we see that it's going to continue to be a competitive price pressure environment, and companies have to look for ways to mitigate and improve on quality of service while we're doing it, and also incorporating all the innovation that is out there. That's where ADLINC really comes in.
If you listen to this and you're in the final mile space and you are trying to find that missing link, you're trying to figure out how you solve this problem of overnight dispatcher, or I need help with a new client, customer support. Maybe I'm getting a bunch of inbound calls for home delivery white glove orders. I encourage you to go to www.adlinc.com. Check them out. I think you got some really, really good solutions here. And it's coming from somebody that's born from and in the final mile. So truly understands the issues and the challenges that we face day to day. Dave, really appreciate you being here. Thanks for all the insights you shared. Thanks for the solution. Thanks for you coming in, seeing a problem, being willing to solve it. I think you've got a great business, and I can't wait to see the future success.
Thanks for having me, Jason. And it's great to be in a position to add value to our industry. So looking forward to partner with all of you.
Jason Burns, Last2First. Dave Douglas with ADLINC. Peace out. Want more game-changing insights from the best in last mile delivery? Stay locked in with Last2First. Follow us on social media for exclusive clips, behind-the-scene content, and expert tips. Subscribe to our podcast so you never miss a beat. Join the conversation. Send us some comments, drop in your questions, and become a part of the Last2First movement. Want to be a guest or know someone that should be? Hit us up and let's get them on the show. If you're interested in sponsorship opportunities, reach out to us. We'd love to work with you. Find us on social media with @Last2First Podcast. Send email to info@last2firstpodcast.com, or go check out our website and let us know how we can support, help, and bring you better content going forward. Now back to Last2First.